Alrighty, I think the stream's now up, or for YouTube later, you'll be watching this, I assume. My audio looks good. Um, so today I'm gonna work a little bit on adding in some additional textures, just to kind of help visualize things a bit. Oh, these are in a zip file, that's why it's not happy. Found this cool site with texture stuff you can download. And what I'm going to do is I'll take is it Albedo? Yeah. And by default, this image is 512 by 512. And honestly, it's way too big. So we're going to say sprite size, and we're going to scale it down. Nearest neighbor should be fine, but honestly, like 128. See, it's going to give it a more pixelated experience, and I believe these are, yeah, you can see they are tiled already. So I also don't really want them in JPEG because while it seems to work fine, not my first choice when it comes to formats. So DungeonEQ has zones. In those zones is Gloomhold. And we're going to call this Roxy. Cool. Then we're going to do the same thing with the normals, because we can always disable this later too. 128 by 128. So we should lock aspect, so we don't have to do it twice. And then we can save as, Control-Shift-S. This needs a way to just type in. Does this work? We'll find out. Nope. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of that part, but it's doable. Worst case is I can copy it over before I do these edits. There we go. Cool. So we can now get this into here. My original vision was that this guy will be this terrain color. So what we'll do is put it in object mode, press tab. I disabled some of those extensions I was running earlier because I don't really like the context style every time you tab and stuff. I prefer just numbers. And yeah, so we're going to make a new material. We're going to call this new. We're going to call this rock. We're going to go to based color, and we're going to go to image texture, and we're going to open up my new rock texture. The base color is C. We're going to go ahead and assign it. Okay, this other huge bounding box gets in the way. All right, then we're going to go to UV editing. Why is this view so wonky? Let's get out of this. All right, so now we got this huge cube thing, and we're just going to scale it by like 10. Probably not even that, like 5. And you can kind of see what this terrain looks like, which isn't bad. For the time being, I'm kind of just messing around, scratching up some layering, you know, trying to get some vision together. So we can always change this later too. I guess I can go ahead and subdivide these edges as well. We want it like, I think it was like, honestly, it doesn't have to be the same. And then if we go to edge mode, we can snap this for a sec, like that. And what we can do, you know, give it a little personality. And now we can go to this, extrude out. All right. And we could potentially potentially just go ahead and subdivide this as well by like 6 parts and do the same kind of treatment. This time just using Y to kind of just, you know, give it some volume. Oops, what's going on here? This face is not happy with this. It seems like it's working, but it's not very happy with this. Another thing is we can do a loop, put a face on that. I wonder, it's because there's no, I can fix that here in a sec, 1 sec. It's because I'm doing weird geometry and it's not happy with it. So what you do is we knife between these points, whoa, like that. And you see, now it actually can generate normals properly. But you can see I'm trying to make some sort of like surface. Sure. That feels like a rock formation. Cool. And I mean, arguably I should be doing this on this side too. Ooh. Actually, you know what I could just do is like boom, 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 boom. See? This stuff, though, it probably feels a little weird. Cool. All right, so now that works. We'll get this, and we're gonna go back to UV editing. And we're gonna select all these faces and scale them by like 10. Oh, why is this? Let's do a cube projection first. There. And actually now it kind of matches this texture, even though those are temporary. It's something just to, you know, give it a little personality there. Okay, come on. We go highlight. Oh, it's not quite understanding what I'm doing here, which is fine. That kind of works. It's somewhat temporary, but it feels old school, you know what I mean? Like, I could see this being, and I'll probably like eventually take this object and sort of form it better, I guess you could say. Another thing I'm going to go ahead and do before we get too much farther is I'm going to open up my Gloomhold textures for, was it cobble? Yeah, this purple texture. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is scale it down by 128 as well. I'm going to go ahead and save it as PNG as well. And do the same operation on N. So scale by 128. Save as cobble and JPEG. There we go. Now, if we go back to here and we go to the material view, I think we actually can just do it right here. We can just hit open, put it to cobble C PNG. And that, you can see how pixelated it is now, which is pretty much the design I wanted. It's actually a little bit too blown out right now, and that's mainly because of this, actually. It's just not enough texture. So this is now PNG. Cool. So what I can likely now do is take the JPEGs out. And that shouldn't cause anything to go purple. what I'll also likely do is this entire object. Heck, I could do this entire area like this. We're going to go ahead and assign the other material to it. So there'll be a bit of a transition of rock textures, and I don't think that's too bad. You know. Just something to add a little character to it. Like this could be a little detailed. All right. I do need to make this actually playable in game. I might just go mess up rebuild EQ for it. I don't think that'll be a big deal because rebuild is kind of just on hiatus while I'm getting DungeonEQ up. And honestly, it should be pretty easy. So if we go to zones, we go to data, we're going to have all the different zones here. And if we sort it by zone ID number, which it looks like I already have, and go to the bottom, I may actually already have a zone around 700 and something. No, these are all the classics. So 760 looks like the last of the normal indexes. But what we can do is go back to EQ Core, open up in Visual Studio, and we can increment this by 1. Here we go. So 787, which you can tell doesn't exist here. Oh, I do have Firepot though at 788. But yeah. So let's go ahead and add in 787, and we're calling it Gloomhold. I feel like that's short enough that we can put it here. And we can call it like Gloomhold Caverns, or just Gloomhold. Caverns sounds legit, you know? We're actually going to start working on a DB string as well. We probably should do that too. So in LaunchEQ, there's an ROF directory, and inside here are all my files that I'm editing. And right now, the client, which has client here, has a DB string that's vanilla. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy it over to ROF. And now we can go ahead and edit it in Visual Studio Code, because that's my preferred way to edit things. Got a lot of windows open. We don't need the zones. We don't need EQ Core open. Technically, that one I can keep open. Okay. Now we take the DB string and just drag it in here. And what we're going to do is correlate the definition, which I'm apparently using 35154, which is odd. Is this EQ string, not DB string? I think those are two different files. Let's double check. Yeah. Let's copy that one actually. We're not quite yet needing to edit. Okay. So 35154. Yeah, so that was just the next entry in here. And if we look for like crystal caverns, you can see all the different zone full names are in here. So this is just an ID string lookup. And what we're going to put in here is Gloomhold Caverns. The truth is, I'm not going to do it just yet, but later I'm going to actually just reuse old IDs. The only downside of that is like if you're going to take an asset from DungeonEQ and put it onto your server, if I have all of this set up with its own UUIDs, it should actually make collisions easier and, you know, injections in general. Forget what zone flags 2 is, but apparently setting it to 4 is fine. So we'll do that. Anyways, so we're going to compile this. And once it's compiled, we'll copy it. And we'll have to do some effort in game real quick to get this to actually load it. But you can see here, it copies it over to the client for me. The client was technically already running, so it may not inject this actually. But that's okay. Actually, no, let's exit. I think it won't be okay. So we exited. We're going to launch again, get DungeonEQ going. While that's going, I figure we can actually test the zone. One issue we're going to hit is there is no exit to the main area, which there is a debate on that. What I could technically do, I could just slice this for now. I think later this may get, some different treatment, but let's do that for now. So we're going to go, oof, that's gross. What are my other projection options? That one isn't that great either. Can I just, there? We'll do something like that, I guess. In fact, this whole object should be assigned the other material. Let's make it all rock. There we go. And what we'll also do, I'm pretty sure the normals have been flipped. Yep. I might just take this face off. Oh, that's actually interesting. Is there actually a way to put a normal on both sides? Blender, normal, both sides. Basically double culling, but applying it by hand. I don't know how to make the faces. Yeah, I know that setting. I don't want it to actually use double face culling because that doesn't get parsed. You'd have to have faces on both sides. You can use a solidify modifier. You could duplicate your faces. Yeah. Most of these documentations are obviously just talking about backface culling. Yeah, if you want a face with two sides and correct lighting, then you can't share vertices, since each one needs a unique normal to calculate the lighting properly. So basically, I'll have to duplicate all the faces and then flip. So I'm going to be adding double the freaking triangle count to do this. I mean, that's not the end of the world. So basically, I think I can just duplicate. Ooh, but see, that's going to get expensive. I feel like there should be a modifier for this. Like maybe solidify will do it. So notice the moment I hit solidify, we now have a mesh with two sides to it. The only problem is you can see that there's like culling problems going on too. But maybe that'll do it. What if I like, yeah, see, I took off fill and that's seeming even cleaner. And inside, you can see here, there's basically two walls. So the reason I'm doing this is because when you work a zone like this, if you're a gnome and you sit on a wall, you can see through. And if I have something like this, this is going to jack that up because you're going to have, you know what I mean, external geometry. So I think solidify might work. We'll give it a little bit of testing and see actually in game. So we're going to go ahead and cut an entrance. There's a few ways to do that. What I usually find to be the easiest, ooh, see, when I have solidify on, I can't actually like edit this. So what I'll probably do is, this is like the last step, I'll go in and solidify things and turn off fill. Because until I'm done with a geometry piece, it's hard to work on it when it has double sides. So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and subdivide it. And the reason is, if we do it by like 2, and then, yeah, what we can now do is take something like this edge. Oops. What did I do there? Okay. Take something like this edge and use this. We can kind of cut out an exit. And what we can now do is take this loop and dissolve it. And we'll take these here shortly and possibly dissolve them, but that's not the biggest deal right now. Let's actually just take these, go up the z-axis a little bit, and kind of make a little doorway. We could also grab like this vert and say like gx or gy -10, no, -5 maybe. Oops, gy 5 there. Just to give it a little bit of a whatever. And now we can dissolve this face, or I guess remove the face. And now we have a little walkway. Now, of course, there's some other issues going on here, like you can see. What I could likely do for that, I could actually just take this face out, and that'll clean that up. See that? And there's some other, geometry here that's getting jacked with, but that's because this object has a face right here. I think we can just delete that face, and that'll clean that up. See? And these guys, pretty much the same ordeal. I don't need this to be misaligned like this. Like you see, I have a lift. That's not needed. I'm actually a little curious why I have this face here. Like, we have this edge, we have that edge. In fact, let's go to single mode. I don't think it's this guy's fault. You can see here, he's all right. I think it's this guy's fault. No. Object mode select, there we go. I mean, no, he's pretty clean. Maybe it's the guy below. Interesting. It's mainly just that these pieces don't align right now. I could probably just move this up. I do it with like a vertex snap and maybe get that to snap. No. How about an edge? There we go. Now we're perfect. All right. And so there is a little bit of this going on still, but I think that's actually because this face right here is too high, or sorry, too low. It's leaking into the other. So like if I took you and just did that, we'd be good. That one's solid. There. And now we snap. So now we get pretty clean geometry in this area. And then this edge still has a face. That's why that's doing that. So like if we take this and edit and go over here, we can take this face and just take it out. There, now we don't have any of that weird culling going on. Let's go ahead and take this. And let's tweak his UV a little bit. can likely just do a Q projection. Inside here, please. Scale. Actually, Q projection. I want like a smart projection. Or what about no, not a cylinder. Let's just scale. Can't scale Y on these. Weird. What's going on here? All right, fine. Back to Q projection. Scale X. What's going on with that? That's so weird. Like this face doesn't have proper geometry. I like want to unwrap it, but like this has 4 vertices, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it has its own unique face. Usually a Q projection fixes this. What other kind of unwraps can I do? Okay, I think that actually helped. You can see X is now usable. That's weird though. There we go. In fact, let's take all of them, do a new Q projection, scale the X. Now I can kind of fix that, and then I can just, you know, and I can stagger this by taking Y and kind of just, oops. You know, I don't care if they're aligned. Like EQ is not very critical about that stuff. I think this looks perfectly fine. Now you got this long corridor. And you can kind of look up it. Cool. So what next? What we can do is let's add the solidifier, take out the fill, save, and let's generate this real quick. Then we're going to go in here. And we're going to see if we can get this zone to actually load. In order to do that, we're going to have to duplicate Firepot. Duplicate without keys. We're going to call this Gloomhold. ID doesn't matter. Gloomhold Caverns. 000 should be fine. The key thing is zone ID number. It's going to be 787, I believe. We can verify that real quick. You can see here. Cannot open for writing. Oops. We got to redo this. But yeah, it is 787. So we can write that. We succeeded. We could also go to zone points, take Soul Dungeon B. Actually not great with filtering on this. Is it like this? Yeah, that's not too bad. So we can remove all of these. I think the first zone ID is actually being used right now. We could verify real quick. If we go to Soul Dungeon B and open it in Blender. Yeah, ATP 001. So zone ID 1 is going to take us to basically 000. This is actually the coordinates inside of that, but whatever. And then target heading doesn't matter. Target zone ID is going to be 787, right? And then these other ones I can just delete. Delete selected rows. Okay. So now we have a zone point in Soul Dungeon B that should take us to the new zone once it's fully loaded. So now if we go back to zone, let's go in game, I think. Because it did compile now, yeah? Perfect. So we're going to go in game. I'll log into Soul Dungeon B, and in theory, I might need to do a reload somewhere. But I should be able to... oh, wait, I can't drop down still. I remember that there's a... ooh, that's a little gross. Why are we still getting a... you know, face problem on that? Regardless. Yeah, watch. I'll walk over here, and then it won't let me go down. Does fly mode let me fix this? I think I tried this last time. My rebuild has been jacking up, and I can't use all the commands. Yeah, regardless. Let's just zone to 787 manually. Of course. So let's try reload zone. There. Gloomhold Caverns. Zone is unavailable. That is likely because my rebuild server is not maintaining connections. I've had this issue in the past, and I don't really know what the best fix is. I think it's an axe stack issue, specifically like Oculus or whatever the runtime manager is, just dies, and then I can't, you know, like I can't maintain zones. We'll find out here in a sec. I'm terminaling in. See, all right. So if we go ps-aux, grep zone, actually there's a bunch of zones loaded. Okay, so maybe it isn't. Let's go to server logs and I mean, you can see Gloomhold did get loaded at one point. But why did it say I can't enter? Well, Soul Dungeon B is now not available. Weird. Because this seems to have loaded it fine. Let's grab somebody else. Oh, we can't get anywhere? The zone is unavailable. What would I even debug to figure out why this is happening? Is there a crash? No, I haven't crashed since July. Is world working? Yep. In zone? I mean, it looks to be. Why am I getting that zone is unavailable? Fine, I gotta reboot it. Let's just restart. That'll kill the whole thing. Yeah, I have a little bit of a hole in knowledge when it comes to working with AXStack, especially when it comes to like debugging why I'm getting certain issues like this. And I think it's more just my fault. I don't think, oops, I probably shouldn't hit quick connect because Rebuild EQ just got its location changed. So it probably is a different ID slot. No, we're good. And apparently now I'm in the arena. Okay. So maybe it tried to zone, failed, and then redirected me. So let's go ahead and zone to Soul Dungeon B again. No, Soul Dungeon B won't work. Let's zone to 787. There's Gloomhold Haven Caverns. Oh, we're in. So this is going to be our first time ever seeing this zone. I've also noticed my UI is not saving changes I'm doing. I wonder if there's a read-only flag going on. I'll have to fix that with LaunchEQ. So my test cube looks perfect. And this zone is definitely a little big, but I am getting the experience I wanted with, like, you know, the big cavern that you fall down. I could probably make that smaller. Also, I keep disabling shadows and then it like puts it back on. So I think one of the INIs has read-only access. So like this edge, the solidify works pretty good. It just makes this feel like a, you know, a solid object. You can still clip, you can see. but it should cause like a boundary here. I did turn off the overworld blocks, I think. So I don't know if... See, that's cool. Like, if you aren't paying attention, you think, oh, I'm going to go this way. And then when you get over, it's like, drop. Yeah. This is a lot bigger than I was expecting. I got to shrink this all down. I want this to be more magnificent. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to exit, even though I'm on one of those platforms. Let's enable the bounding box. Let's give the bounding box a texture, by the way. I kind of feel bad that it's being neglected like that. Give it rock, I guess. And we want to flip it to normals, because it's not like you're going to see outside that. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit just by scaling it quite a lot. Something like that for now. So, yeah, basically, we'll see how this feels when we get in game. I might want to scale. I'm going to keep this one the same, but I will scale down this guy quite a bit width-wise. In fact, I think I can just literally scale Y like that. And just make it a narrow passageway. I think that'll be good. Cool. So let's save that, run the exporter, and load up the game again. All right. Yeah, I kept this the same size just so that you don't... And look, see, this is freaking set again. Annoying. There's definitely a read-only flag. I might fix that here in a sec. Oh, you can't get over. Which is interesting because technically you should be able to fall. I don't know why the world doesn't consider the outside thing a collision. And you are going to get banned, dried. This is not... Don't... Whoa. Don't be dumb. Ban. Okay. Cool. I almost feel like it's too big. I may shrink the main area a little bit. I just, you know, like this doesn't need to be super huge. And what I'll probably do to cleanly scale this is instead of, you know, taking the whole object, what I'll do is go into edge mode, get this edge. Okay, bounding box, you are annoying when you're on. Okay, and then we're going to scale you down by Z like this. And we can likely also shrink you down significantly. GX, get over here. Then you, oops, take off snapping. You know what I mean? We can get this down to like here. And also we could go ahead and scale this over by like 10 or 5 at least. Why can't I select that one? Oh, I am. -5. So we shrunk that. Now let's get back onto this edge. I think the cube modifier is messing with me. Yeah. So we want all of this now to go down. We can also take these edges, specifically here. Actually, now we want to snap to vertex probably. Just go GZ, boom. And over here, GZ, boom. Then go back to edge mode, turn off snapping, take all these and go down like that. We can turn this back on and just do that. I don't know. I think that's okay with it like that. So we have that done. And essentially we're shrinking this down. This doesn't need to be so huge. And likely I'll end up like putting a bunch of rock formations and stuff here. I'm just sort of starting for now. And this could technically be shrunk too. The easiest way to do that, I think, is we grab these 3 or 4 faces, and then we say scale on non-Z, and like make it 0.5 there. And so what that just did is this freaking hole isn't gigantic anymore. In fact, I can probably do it again. There. And we can fix this geometry. Part of me, though, actually wants to take it and just clip it out, but I'll wait for that. For now, drop me on the ground. There. Of course, now I'm going to UV editing. So we got these 4 objects. Can we project them? Oof, that's not a good idea. Let's that's interesting. How like it's causing artifacts. I think what's happening is that these verts need to be cleaned up. And I should actually take you and do this. Hey, why aren't you letting me grab you? I know I'm in UV mode, but is there an extra vert here? Yeah, there's like a weird vert there. Cool. That works. And I mean, there's some artifacts here, but I can clean this up pretty easily. Easiest is just try to match the UVs. I think I can even do this. Yeah, no. Even something like that kind of cleans it up. And you have some artifacts too. Again, I might take these out. I'm going to leave them there for now. You can see the projection has been tweaked. But that fixes those weird artifacts when I just do a cube projection. Cool. So now we have this little area. We now can check it out in game. We're not fully sure why you can't free fall on here. Let me actually fix it too, because it's a little... Get back into this mode. Come back over here. Edit this. We're going to basically take all this geometry. Could just deselect. How do I best select just this? I think that did it. Cool. And then we're going to scale Y down significantly. And we're going to also scale Z. Oops. Z is bad because of those. We actually just want to take this side. It's gross. Let's cut this actually. Yeah. And what we really just want to do is take some vertices over here. Kind of like, you know, these ones on the ground. And scale them up a bit. Like that. We could even like take X and kind of shrink it down over like this. I want it to be a free fall though. So how do I do that? I think we take this and we kind of move it over this way. And then akin to this. I think. Honestly, I kind of want this to just be an object that this is leaking out of, and I can just take out all this wonky geometry anyways. I can fix that though. Can I use... There. Oops, this is still having some normal problems with how I cut that. Can I like fill this? What is that called? It's like literally... No. Why am I getting a edge here? That's not right. Do I need to generate normals? With face orientation, you can see even more what's going on here. I think I can dissolve this face. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird geometry in here that I can actually just work off. Because I don't need this to look so weird. I like that edge. This one I could probably dissolve. All right, so now we're down to 3.5. So basically, what we want is we want you, you, and you. I think you be a face. Then we want you, 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 and you to be a face, right? I think this needs to be inverted is the problem. I think it's making the faces on the other side. Is that why? Yep. There. And then the edge needs a little cleanup. What's wrong with this edge? I saw it earlier. Why is it not? Was that just... Yeah, okay, it looks happy now. Cool. And then we can, you know, clean up the UV as well, but we're still just prototyping with the shape. So now you get the illusion when you're here, you're like, oh, there's a walkway over here. And when you walk over, whoops, you can fall to your death. And I might make this icy because I'm an evil person. In fact, let's do that for fun real quick. So we're going to make an empty, we're in object mode, and we're going to make an empty cube. And we need to move it over to here. We're going to scale it by like, I don't know, 10? Non-Z by like 5. And we're going to go ahead and just like do something like this. And I could actually move it here and then scale this. It's like this whole area, this edge is like slippery for whatever reason. Like there's water that's been collecting. This is a pretty big platform. I think that should be good though. Okay, and then it's been a while since I've written a water surface. I think you just go zone. I have regions declared inside the documentation here. EQDCI, lighting, shader, sounds. ATP. I think it's like AWTR or something. Object region custom properties. Blender custom properties. There we go. So water is AWT. So what I can do now is call this like AW. Well, actually, I don't want water. I need ice. Ice is ASL. So ASL cliff. Sure. Cool. We'll add this back to solidify because we're done with it. We'll keep SE fill is gross. It's all right though. Tempted, I'm just gonna move this to the new material type. And we'll just have the purple out for now. We can use that for stuff later. Cool. We also need to enable the bounding box again, which, just out of curiosity, what is its normals oriented? Is it? Yeah, perfect. So it is, this should be solid object, and this should make it so that you can fall to your death here. I'm a little curious why that isn't working. Oh, look at that. There's like a micro normal. Ooh. Why? It's like this edge. That's super weird. I could probably do a cleanup on this. Isn't it like, yeah, fill holes. And there's also a cleanup. Yeah, I mean, it should be in a pretty good shape. Cool, let's try it again. Oh, that's gonna bother me. So this is looking better now that I scaled it down. Obviously the texture level is pretty abysmal. Notice that there's like normal renderings going on with the lighting. I imagine that's because advanced lighting is on. See that? Once I turned off advanced lighting, we look a lot better. I do need to also worry about lights here in a sec. But as you can see, that's now the outside world's rendering. We have this little cone thing. This is definitely very tall. Can you get up this? Not easily, which is kind of what I want. All right, so you're gonna walk up here. Oh, the water didn't work. Can I fall? Nope, still can't fall. Interesting. It must not consider the outside world an object, which also means now there's no way to get to this. This also has no connection right now. How do I want to connect these? I could make it a jump of faith like this. Isn't that interesting how it generates these collisions that I don't actually want it to? So right now we are in 299. Oh yeah, you can totally get up here. Which is kind of what I want. This will be smaller, like this little edge here and stuff. Oh, that's not good. If you do get up here, I don't want you to be able to do what I'm doing right now. Well, good to know though. In fact, let's fix that real quick while we just learned about it. So obviously you should not be exposed like that. We turn on, that should do it. Obviously, yeah. That'll be happier. Can I do it on edge? Okay. Same ordeal over here. Probably just do it by vertex again. Wait, what are you doing? There we go. You would need edge. And what we could probably do is take all this, bring it down significantly. Ooh, we got a little bit of a vertex problem there. Obviously, a lot of this geometry I'm going to go in and just clean up later. But we're starting to kind of get a vision of what we're after. And, you know, I will mess up this rock here soon to make it pretty cool looking. And I'm still not fully sure on why this isn't considered a solid area. I kind of wanted it so you could just fall to your death. But it's not working right now. This area, there's some debate as well. What I could just do is I could always add some geometry on this thing and just make it where like there's a little walkway across the 2 points. But you can't see it because it's so low down. That might make sense. In fact, let's do this. We'll play with that a little bit before I end. We're going to go into edit mode. We're going to take this face. We're going to cut it. Hey, Adam. You're the actual Adam. Right on. Good to meet you. All right, so we're going to take this little chunk here, right? And we're going to extrude it. Then we're going to take an edge on it, and we're going to snap it over to here. Kind of like that. We're going to actually need it to be another vertex and kind of snap it onto there. See that? So now we got a little walkway, and I might actually move it up a little bit. Like, oh, it doesn't really like to write up it. That's not fun. It's all right though. What we can do is just, there we go. We got this little weird design thing. Now we can take these edges, move it up turn this off. Move it up a little bit, right? Take a vertex. That shouldn't look too bad. I'm hoping I can keep that hidden enough. We can test it real quick in game now that we have it all loadable. This is starting to bother me, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that real quick. So, oops. Cube projection, scale this a little bit up, you know, give it a little texture. This is an interesting shape. That definitely needs to get fixed later. Do the same with this. you know, just give it a little personality there, right? For these other ones, I'll just, you know, make them not flat anymore. That works. Still kind of a pending design, so I'm not going to fully work on the textures. But let's go ahead and hop in game and go to 000. There we go. Exit U, reload again. And you can see it in game, Adam, if you wait just a sec. All right. So let's get in game. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. Every time I'm going to complain about that. So we got the little entrance area with half-assed textures. We got the little hole that you came in. I could actually make that higher up. I think it's because the bounding box is there is why. I'll cut that through later. Anyways, you come out here. This will be like a little EXP area. I'll probably put some obstacles in here so this isn't just like a straight shot. But essentially you're like, oh, I can just run over here. Yeah, see, that comes out too quick. I might connect it lower so you don't get that hint that, you know, this is a drop. Because this will be slick and you'll walk up, and by about the time you habitually stop, you're going to just fall. And that'll be your first death, potentially. That'll be awesome. But the real way is that you come down here, and this will actually take you down to a little bit harder stuff if you just naturally walk here. In order to get to the easier expanded areas, you got to walk up this little walkway. And I won't make this area slick, or maybe like a little piece here and there just to troll. And then you get up here, and this will be like a low-level maze, just something to explore and have fun with. Yeah, right now you can't drop though, but that's my plan. Also, as the world expands, this little, you know, vision will actually let you kind of see the different areas, you know, as I build them out, and it'll be kind of cool to kind of preview all of what, you know, Gloomhold has to offer. That's kind of what I want here. So when you start, you know, you'll have a kind of safe EXP area here that you can kind of, you know, grind, but then you're going to start getting little traps and issues, you know what I mean, as you expand out. And this is just one of the ways. You know, I'm planning to actually make every side actually have EXP areas and, you know, stuff to explore. So I don't want you to ever to feel like, oh, I have to go this way, right? In fact, what I'll likely end up doing is make it where when you explore this side, you know, when you know, venture far, there's a chance you found the right way that'll take you deeper. But there's also a chance you found the wrong way. Yeah, see, if I put like water down there, you're going to have to be like a small pool of water like over there. You're going to have to be super brave to do the jump of faith, you know? Because nobody will have levy. Nobody will have a way to like drop easy, especially at low levels. So that should be fun. And then I cleaned this up a little bit. I think now we won't have the invisible walls right here. See, that came in clean. Looking better. Got to fix up some UV issues again. That's going to be an endless process. And then this side as well. Nice and clean. You can walk along this edge. Looks pretty good. It's at least to my vision so far. And I'm about 2 hours in. I did technically also work on the other zone. My main goal right now is just to start, like, I'll probably put some, you know, interactive NPCs in here to kind of get you started on the server. And over here, you're going to have some, you know, easy mobs. I'm still kind of debating what it'll be. I need to work on a bone exporter that I made so that you can potentially make custom animated NPCs by leveraging bone data from an original NPC. If I get that working, this would be amazing, because like EQ as a whole would potentially be like an entirely new game, you know, because if you think about it, zones, NPCs, items, and weapons are all customizable now. Sound effects, of course, which I do need to work more on, but cool. I want to check real quick. Are there things flagged as read-only? Yes. And what are flagged as read-only? Because that is not cool. Like, this should be fully accessible. Client is fine. Why is there a DungeonEQ.txt? Oh, is this the log file? Yeah, okay. Yeah. For fun, I'm going to go ahead and unflag read-only. When I do my clone, I can fix this. And let's see if I actually fix this properly. We're going to camp desktop normally. Cool. We're going to start it up again. I just want to see if that UI element is fixed now. I'll go ahead and commit my changes to new Gloomhold. We can actually take you out. I don't think you are even referenced anywhere. Nothing's orphan. Okay. We'll save you one more time. Go back into here. Make sure the UI works. And we can go ahead and commit these new changes. Add Gloomhold improvements. Okay. Yeah, see, the UI stayed. Perfect. So I'll make sure my launcher does not flag UI elements as read-only, because that's no good. All right. Well, that's done. We committed here. We also got to copy it over to the client ROF, which is what? Launch EQ for DungeonEQ. In here, I don't know if, so this does copy over Soul Dungeon. The EQ string, I don't think we need. It's going to be DB string, actually. So let's do this. Client, DB string, copy. Whoa. I think that's is that a follower, a subscriber? It's been a while since I've heard the sound, but regardless, thank you. I'm planning to do this every day around this time. Oh, yeah. That's actually Lantern that did that. It was really cool. I liked their cool animation stuff. I will be adding open zone content as well to this at some point. But for now, we put in DB string now into ROF. So we can now version that. Because DB string has an entry at the very bottom. No. Is it a EQ string and I messed up? Let's double check. Well, I'll mess with that later. I don't fully recall which one it is. I thought it was DB string. But we can go ahead and say add new Soul Dungeon. Did I already version Gloomhaven? No. Is Gloomhaven not getting copied? Interesting. It should every time. Oh no, it doesn't. I can fix that though. So if we go to zones here, and we go to the copy server, it's this one. So copy EQ needs to be updated on this one, like this. And we need this to be Gloomhold. It's a hack. What this does is now every time I hit this, it'll update my patcher. So it's one less step. Or should. Where's my patcher actually at? Got too many things open. Yeah, where's Gloomhold? You should be copying it now. Did it error? Interesting. Let's see if we can figure that out real quick. Zones. Gloomhold has a log file for copy. See, it says it copied. Interesting. Didn't expect it to say it succeeded. So what's happening? Let's think about this. We can close you, close you. We're taking out Gloomhold right here, copying it over to LaunchEQ ROF. And it says it succeeded. Was I set to Gloomhold? Yes. When I hit run, this log says it succeeded twice, which is usually a sign that it just patched it. Interesting. So why? Oh no, it's here. It was just collapsed. I'm dumb. Okay. So we got Gloomhold now. Added Gloomhold and Soul Dungeon V. Boom. So now we've versioned it. And when I push this up, oh, that's fine. That's just because I'm replacing the tag every push. So what that now does is that if we go to DungeonEQ LaunchEQ, it should auto trigger CI/CD, which it did. And when this finishes, it'll update my patcher, and then I don't have to like do anything to get this released to everybody. Yeah, because you know, lazy patching is the best type of patching. I do need to consider, if we have a dev server, how I'm going to distribute dev server client files and like prod server. I could do a branch and just do branch based. That might work. And then basically have a client dedicated to dev and a client dedicated to prod. That may make sense. Wow, this is taking forever to get set up. But that's just a queue problem on GitHub. But anyways, I think we're more or less done for today. I might work on this more later. I might stream later. But Adam, if you're still around, nice to see you. Hope you enjoyed. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of custom, essentially from scratch map making for EverQuest so that you can experience it in a new and glorious way. And if you are watching this on YouTube later, hope you enjoyed. I know some people just listen to me, and hopefully I was narrative enough to be interesting. But yeah, gonna hop off now. Thanks for watching. Take care.